Hi guys, welcome to my podcast, Love.Heal.Repeat. Welcome to my YouTube channel also. I don't really post non-episodes on this channel, but somebody said I could do ASMR, and I was like, maybe I could be a voice actor, but I don't know if people like my voice that much. I've never been complimented in the real world on it. IRL, only like on here, which I have a speaker. But I was like, maybe I could be a voice actor, or maybe I'll start like reading books. I used to, which is so crazy to me because I used to hate speaking and public speaking and reading out loud. I remember reading out loud to my dad, and I was terrified. And like when I was like hyper aware that they were listening to me mispronounce everything or not stop or not breathe. And I'm a fast talker, so I was like, you know what I mean? Without breathing. And then I'd be like, and I talked about this in my early episodes as well. Like I needed to catch my breath. And I guess I just don't talk as fast anymore because I'm more comfortable now. Interesting. But I'd hope I'd be more comfortable. This is like my 47th episode, 46, 47. Anyways, almost been doing this for a year. No, I've been doing it for over a year. I just haven't done it consistently. But today we are talking about logic versus Virgo versus Pisces, okay? And this is how I'm going to explain it. I did talk about this in this video here, knowing versus believing, which is another video that's I talk about sort of the same idea. I think now I have more information to go based off of, and it's something that was recent in some astrological formation, the nodal cycle, which I will read to you. I talk about this all the time. I love Aspen's 17 Degrees newsletter. It's free unless you join the Moon Circle and like add on or whatever. But I love what she writes, and I'm very happy to support her in her life journey and just, help out and learn a lot. Mimi. No Thumbelina. And just learn a lot. So here I am. So why I say we're talking about Virgo and Pisces. So Virgo is like logic based and Pisces is more ethereal and abstract. And this was, I talked about it in my other video, knowing versus believing, because I had a dream about it, because my brother is so Virgo based. And by Virgo I mean he's so logic based, where he defines the outcome based on logic, which is not wrong, but he leaves no room for miracles by adapting this mentality and continuously reusing it. Cindy! Cats, man. I love them, but they're territorial. He leaves no room for areas of growth or miracles. And he's like, no, of course that's not going to happen. And the problem is, logic is like a fact. Logic is like material. It's real. It's tangible. It's not tangible, but it's like it is tangible. And allowing things to just happen and being optimistic is much harder, because you're almost fighting with the tangible. You're fighting against logic and saying, no, I'm going to believe that this miracle can happen. Maybe not that it will, but just allowing the opportunity to flow to me and knowing that it's possible. of happening. And so the logic is so firmly rooted in our reality that oftentimes it wins. And I don't think I phrased it right with knowing versus believing, but knowing is like the logic and believing is the manifesting, you could say, or the ethereal, or the Pisces, or the abstract, or the energy, right? And logic is like math and numbers and coding. And so speaking about coding and speaking about manifesting, sometimes I think, because there's a lot of information online about manifesting because everybody wants to do it. Some people say, you can have whatever you want and you can call it in now with XYZ steps. And a lot of their tactics are to like bring in things faster and when you want them, rather than like having to wait for them to come in naturally, I guess. And so that sounds like coding. That's like your cheat sheet. That's like when you're playing Minecraft and you're in survival mode, but you put on that, you type in that cheat sheet and now you're in creative mode. Now you have access to your whole inbox of infinite resources. That's how I always think of that, as like when I say cheat sheet, I mean like when you're playing Minecraft and you change the weather. You just type in the code, it changes the weather. So yeah. I wonder, is coding like that real? And I also talked about this in another video, which I can pin here, is witchcraft the cheat to life, or like the code to life. And you can watch that later if you're interested. And I wish there was a way you could add videos to queue when they pop up here, because when people's videos pop up, I want to watch them because they just gave me an insight about it and it seems interesting. But if I click on it right away, it ends this current video that I'm watching, and that pisses me off. Honestly, it's very annoying. So I wonder if there's a way to fix that. YouTube, think about it. Getting back into it. Again, the video is interesting. I'd watch it later. I can maybe link it in my description. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Is there really a cheat sheet to life? Is there really coding? Is doing spells and all that actually a way to change your life? Because sometimes spells don't work, I guess. I don't know that much about them. Like, I know about them, but I don't know exactly how they work. And then you're getting into like witchcraft, like runes and binds and all that stuff. And it's so very interesting. And I would like to do that because I literally had a dream last night where I was talking to this woman and she was a witch undercover. And by that I mean just someone who's, and this is my definition, someone who is a herbologist. They have all the herbs, they have their spices, they like to mix like potions, and that to me is a witch. And so we were talking, I was like, oh, can you teach me? And can you like teach me how to do this? And she's like, you already know. Like, you know how. And I was like, oh. And that was kind of like, you just flow with it in a way. And when kids were younger, when I was younger, I would make like mud pies. I'd mix grass in it, some mud, dirt, water, you add some flowers. Like, that to me is so much fun, and it's so pleasurable, and it's so like nostalgic. Doing that in adult would be so cool. Whether you're making actual spells or not, or like setting big life-changing intentions behind them, or just like small things, I think that's so interesting. I have another video that I'm going to bring a friend onto, and I think we're going to talk about traditions and like playing a role. And I'm realizing, like, yes, I'm traditional. I mean, yes, I'm not traditional, but I'm also traditional. Like, I'm still like, I don't know that I would do a huge spell to change my life, because that is like messing with how things are meant to be. So that's why I'm like, do I believe in the cheat sheet codes? Do I believe in coding? I'm just going to call it coding. And for future reference, here's this video. So you know what I'm talking about in 20 years when I say coding. Like, is it real? Is coding real? And or is it something like divine timing? I've also talked about that on here. Can you really pull things in closer and like quantum leap and get into all the quantum mechanics of that? 11:11 on the timer. Or do you have to wait for things to unfold? Or is it a mix of both? And honestly, something that's helped me a lot in my mental confusion or confliction is two things can be true at once. And so maybe it is both. Maybe, I mean, balance. If there's anything true in life, it's balance, equilibrium, okay? I think you can have both, I guess. I think it's a feeling, and I think it's fact. I think it's logic. I think it's Virgo, and I think it's Pisces. And I'm going to read you something because apparently people like my voice. And then I'll go into the nodal cycles of Pisces and Virgo and why I say Pisces and Virgo. Okay. This is from Aspen's newsletter. We can think of achieving a desired outcome as a destination we are trying to reach. There are two primary methods we can utilize to get there, but distance is the same. The first option is to operate through the constraints of the 3D plane and rely solely on the physical body. We might think getting blah, blah, $1 million, that's just an example, takes this amount of time and this much effort and this amount of resources. And because you believe that, it will be true. The second option is to operate through the limitlessness of the 5D plane, which again, linear time does not exist in, and everything is simply happening all at once. Through this, we can utilize the spiritual body to quantum jump to the reality in which we already have the desired outcome. Because the energetic body is there, the physical reality must adjust to match it. This closes the gap between us and the desired objective much faster. The same amount of distance is covered, but through the laws of the material world, it appears we have arrived at the destination much more quickly. Operating through the limitations of the logical mind and physical plane can stretch the distance we are trying to cover, which is what one elongates the time it takes to get there, and two creates the illusion that there is more of a distance. Regardless of how far it is stretched, it is still the same distance. That was very interesting to me. Whether you want to receive $1 million or do a backflip, the concept applies the same. The issue that we often run into when applying this to our lived experience without seeing results is our impatience with the 3D plane. The 3D compresses energy, causing it to become denser, and that density slows things down. We can change our energetic reality in an instant, exercising our divinity, but to see the physical manifestations of the energetic frequency, we must have patience. We must allow the molecules to reconfigure themselves into a pattern that reflects the new energetic frequency. Changing your vibration, which is created through your beliefs, outlook, and the way you respond to yourself and external world, is like intentionally misplacing one tile in a mosaic that will alter the entire picture. The pattern will eventually be a completely new design because of the singular alteration. But the single tile is not a new pattern on its own. At the beginning, it's merely a glitch, an abnormal piece in the otherwise stable system. When you are unable to reinforce the energetic state due to fear, doubt, frustration, or whatever, we often return to the energetic frequency that we know and are familiar with, even if we do so unintentionally. We go back to the old pattern and therefore reinforce the structure of the reality we are trying to alter. Very interesting. And so beautifully said. So wonderfully said. Now, the nodal cycle. The nodal cycle in Pisces and Virgo intends to break us free from this loop so that we might start to see more success in our manifestation processes. And it does this by encouraging us to look beyond what our physical eyes allow and to see with the soul, to sense what is hiding in plain sight. To design a new reality that we can touch and see, we must experience it first in the spiritual and maintain that state of being, regardless of what the external world may influence us to infer. This is how manifestation is done with tremendous success. It is not a singular practice. If you wish to truly design a different reality, you must design a different way of being. As within, so without. You change yourself internally, you change your whole world externally. To change one's life is a devotion to change oneself. This new moon poses us an invitation not to abandon who we are, but to become more of what we've always been. It is an invitation to shed the layers of doubt, uncertainty, fear, and insecurity that have prevented you from being a truer expression of yourself. What do you feel is meant for you? What dream has been waiting for you to align with it? So beautiful. That was the new moon that happened in the first week of March. 4th, 5th, something like that. So yes, it's very interesting, and I guess given that you can code your new life and bring things into your reality quicker by changing yourself, by not allowing that one mosaic tile to be just a glitch, and by continuously changing the tiles so that you can change the entire picture. And not letting doubt or fear or stress or worry or whatever get in the way of the life that you want. And I think doubt is a huge thing. Because I think to myself, like now I'm really defining what I want in life. And I did a meditation this morning. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, why do I want this? Not why do I want this, but it was a Joe Dispenza meditation, and it was kind of like, what you feel the emotion of how you're going to feel when you get it. And I couldn't feel it. And I think this is why I used to think I was depressed. Well, I think I was depressed. And this is why I still sort of think I'm just continuously depressed deep down, or maybe I'm just sad. Because I don't feel like when I see a beautiful sunset, and my beautiful sunset facing the east, not the west, because the east turns pink and purple and blue, and it's so gorgeous, and I love it. And pink and orange, and then over here is like highly more contrasted. Like I can't stand that. I mean, I can, but it's not my favorite. I like the other side. When I see that, I'm like, wow, it's so gorgeous. But I don't feel that in my body. I don't feel that joy radiating throughout me. And so when I finally had what I desired currently, and what I'm defining and redefining, and changing a little bit here and there, I felt the same as looking at the sunset. I guess because I just wanted the sunset more than because I was thinking about how I felt looking at the sunset in my home versus having my own home. And maybe that's why I didn't feel it, because I already have the sunset, so it's not like, oh my God. But I was like, I want the sunset every day. And I was thinking to myself, am I really going to appreciate it when it comes? So that's food for thought, is maybe consider what you're manifesting and see how you already have it. Because what Aspen said about time and how the 5D, how the time doesn't exist, it's an illusion, and the 3D just compresses it or reality to make it seem like it's farther away, versus the 5D, that doesn't make sense. Wouldn't the 5D compress it? And the 3D would expand it so it seems longer? I don't know. Whatever it is, but the 5D, everything's happening all at once. So right now, as I'm living here talking to my podcast, I'm also in a ballet class from 10 years ago. I'm also stubbing my toe some weekend and putting my foot in the pool. I remember that. I was like 10, and every freaking weekend I would stub my toe and it would bleed. And that happened to me like 3 weeks in a row. It was weird. So all of that is happening at once. And it only seems like it's different because we're living in this third dimension. So it's fascinating to me. And quantum mechanics and quantum theory and quantum immortality, it's very interesting. And so that's all I have to say. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, as always. Feel free to sound off below. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful rest of your week, or whenever you're watching this. And I hope a miracle happens to you today, and I hope it challenges the doubt that you have in your mind, and I hope this is the door that opens new possibilities to you, and this is like your Ace of Swords. This is like your, hey, here's a new idea, and this is going to change your life if you continue to act on it. I hope this changes the tile in your mosaic, and I hope it's not just a glitch. So, that's the message. Peace and love. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. 2 2 2 2 on the timer.